it's just small concepts that you just tweak and bring forward.
The rest of the book is actually kind of dry because they spent so much time and effort on trying to create original magical creatures or whatever, or an original magic system.
Doing what Max does and kind of getting on a high horse. And he was like, I wish that Disney would come out with more original stories like Lion King. And I looked at him and I went, you mean Hamlet?
Hi, I'm Max.
I'm Drew.
And I'm Leisha.
Plot hole.
Said I'd write one chapter, wrote none.
I'm sorry, you do what?
I changed the ending again.
3 writers.
Countless blueprints.
Infinite stories. And now, into the story.
We've been thinking about this a lot over the last week, and this has actually been a constant discussion between Max and I when it comes to talking about our stories is there really just such a thing as original ideas, or are we kind of like dressing the same skeleton over and over and over again? So I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit and kind of get into some of our thoughts. Like, what are some common things that you guys have noticed or that stand out to you of like stories that have been retold? One of the ones that we actually talked about recently was actually, I'll tell you guys a funny story about a conversation that Max and I had. We have a almost 2-year-old, and he very much gets into movies very often. And so we talk a lot about the movies that he watches because we watch them sometimes 10 times a week at least. So one of the movies that were talking about at the time was Lion King, and Max was doing what Max does and kind of getting on a high horse. And he was like, I wish that Disney would come out with more original stories like Lion King. And I looked at him and I went, you mean Hamlet? So,
Which is such a great, because Hamlet's not an original story either.
No, it's not. So it's one of those things where, there's a reason why these stories work. And we've seen stories work really well when they're based off of the same ideas, the same tropes, same archetypes, all that kind of thing. So to you guys, what are some of the, I think, redone things that you feel like have been redone very well?
Okay. Done really well?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the hard part, is the done really well
We'll get into that.
Yeah, that clarifier at the end really threw me off.
Yeah. Because you have a couple of different versions of the not original stories. Because you have like the tropes that like stories follow, like the hero's journey. Like that is like it's been done a lot.
The Chosen One.
I mean, yeah, The Chosen One. Like, if we're talking about romance stuff, enemies to lovers, and so like there's those things that are done a lot. But then sometimes it's just like the actual story. My favorite example of like a bad version of this is Avatar and Pocahontas.
Avatar,
the Blue People.
The Blue People.
Yes.
Okay.
No. Last Airbender we've already talked about is a masterpiece.
You're not wrong.
Drew will sue me if I don't say that. But no, Avatar and Pocahontas, maybe it's not a bad one because like we actually kind of like the Avatar movies. But Avatar and Pocahontas have such a crazy similar storyline. Foreign man comes to native people to take their resources, and because they need the people to move, they send an ambassador to kind of be with their people and everything, and then that person ends up switching sides and like fighting for the native people. It's literally it's Pocahontas.
Yeah,
But and again, that one is kind of up to interpretation if it's done badly. It's done really well. It's Pocahontas, but with guns.
Pocahontas with guns.
I guess Pocahontas does have guns. But space? Pocahontas in space. But
Pocahontas in space.
Yeah. So that's an example. I don't know if it's done well, but that's kind of up to interpretation.
I think probably one of the best examples of it being done well. I mean, I don't know. Well is subjective, obviously, but I think an example of one that's being done well is Star Wars and Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's a close similar one. Yeah,
almost the exact same storyline. Orphaned child lives with his aunt and uncle, meets some old guy who tells him that he's a wizard. Like it's just like it's the same thing, right? For a lot of it. And so I think those are really good examples of it being done well. Problem is, I think there's too many examples of it not being done well.
So this is where it gets interesting. So I took a class in college called adaptation theory. It was like a film and literature course. And basically we talked about the fact that this idea that there is no original stories, that everything comes from somewhere. You can always trace like where something came. And you can even take like stuff that has the same name or the same story and twist it in different ways too. We spent a whole like 6 weeks talking about Robin Hood, and we read everything from the original poetry that Robin Hood, the story, was based on, like from like the 1300s or whatever, to like obviously like the Disney version. We talked about like there's a Mel Gibson version. It's called Robin and Marion. That's a really weird one. It's like set like way after the events of regular Robin Hood. And then there's the Taron Egerton one too, with which is like Robin Hood, but let's make everything black and green and tone down like the ISO way low, and we'll make it like an action thriller. It's actually, after watching it, like it's not a good movie, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like there's like all these different versions of Robin Hood, but at the end of the day, like the core story is the same, and that's what the adaptation theory talks about. Is like what like books and stories and movies, they all come from somewhere, even if they're similar. Like, and it's kind of cool to trace that instead of criticizing the fact that they're not original. They can have original pieces to their part, or maybe they're taking ideas from other places and everything too. So like for like Harry Potter and Star Wars obviously came first, but Harry Potter says, well, what if I took the whole story of Star Wars, but we make it about wizards in the real world and make it a little bit more grounded? And so, and then obviously it builds off from there. Do I think she sat in the coffee shop and really thought that she was writing Star Wars? I don't know, but that's what's kind of fun about adaptation theory, is that you can see the influences without necessarily knowing that they were influenced by that.
I think with that, I think it's also important to talk about like when you basically give something new life. So like one thing that came to mind as I've been thinking about it is a lot of us love Greek mythology. I think that for many people, whether you're a reader or a writer, have gone through a phase of just being obsessed with Greek mythology. And something that I've been thinking about is like, obviously the Greek stories and the myths surrounding them aren't new. Like these have existed for ages. But one of the things that we don't always acknowledge when it comes to no original ideas is when you take something and you try to like basically give it new life. So like Percy Jackson, like insert like finding a way to bring these stories to life in a completely different setting or completely different context of the world. But I also think about more classic retellings. So you have like obviously Romeo and Juliet, but then you also have stories like West Side Story, where you're seeing these being retold in a different way. So that actually what's the word I'm looking for? Transitions really well to my next point, which is I think for all of us, we've all kind of hit that point of like, am I writing anything that's actually good? And a lot of the insecurities that come with being a writer and like trying to tell our stories. So what have those points looked like for you guys? And how do you feel like you've overcome that obstacle, or is it still something that you feel like you're battling?
I would say I've kind of just come to accept it at this point, that like nothing I'm writing is original. I mean, I even recognize it, right? I'm sitting there writing and I'll write out a scene and then I'll just think to myself, oh, this is exactly like the scene in this other book or that I read or this other movie that I watched or something. And it happens so frequently that I've started to realize, yeah, it's okay. Like, it's fine. Obviously, everybody is inspired by somebody and something. And so it's okay to acknowledge that the inspiration exists. I think the issue comes into play when you're intentionally not writing something original, when it's very obviously a ripoff. And there's a difference between that and doing like parody. You know what I mean? But I think generally I would say I've kind of come to accept it, and I'm okay with it. I've acknowledged it. I've moved past it.
Yeah, I think trying because I feel like it's a chase. It's always a chase for originality, and I feel like anyone who experiences any type of creativity usually runs into that space where it can be really paralyzing, and it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you think so hard about it that you get to the point where it's like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I can't find it within myself to be inspired to just like sit down and write. So, and I think that I've also come to that same realization. Like, even, I mean, as a romance writer, there's only so many tropes you can do. And especially like when they're like very well loved tropes, like they're going to be the same. You're going to see the same patterns in each thing. But the things that make it unique are the voice and perspective that I give it, like the nuance of each character and what those look like. And you know, and this also I think illuminates one of the things that I've thought a lot about when it comes to myself personally. Like, I am not an original person. Like, I am an accumulation of hundreds and hundreds of people that I've met throughout my life. And so, you know, but I don't think that I'm any less of a person because of that. I think that is what's awesome and what makes me like a multifaceted human being. So sometimes I think that's helped me, I think, adjust to being okay with taking the same ideas and trying to give it new life, because I feel, even though like it might not be my original idea, I feel authentically able to convey, I think, a story that I love, and I think a story that other people will love too.
I think for me recently, I went through a big story change recently. The last couple weeks, I took my I was like 4 chapters in or something, and I realized nothing has happened in the story yet, like other than the first chapter. The first chapter stuff happened. After that, it was like meandering and just going nowhere. So I wanted to like kind of revisit the beginning and just tweak it and get into an action bit quicker. And the way I chose to do that was taking like noir tropes and going with that. So like I literally like I went hard to the noir tropes. Like, he starts off, it's a rainy day, he's in his office alone, someone comes in, kind of thing. Now, where I deviated from that is that like I had like basically his bookie come in and said, "Hey, time to pay up," and he turned to a chase scene. So I was like, yeah, that seems like that's where I could put my own flair into things. And that's where I think we need to like be okay with like, oh, this has been done before. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, you know, to get to the place that we want to go. The whole point of the first part of that scene was, the sequence was, I want to get to like the chase scene so I can start showing off things like, how does my magic system work? And how does he deal with situations like this? Like, it getting to that point required some pre-built stones and everything, some predetermined things that people have done before. And I think it's working so far. Like, I'm not super far in, but like it's working, and I want to kind of keep that momentum.
Yeah, it's
going.
getting things moving.
Yeah, and that's what I just want. I want momentum. That's all I'm looking for. So.
I actually want to bring up something that Leisha said earlier with, are we just redressing the same skeleton over and over again? And I think the answer to that is actually, yeah, we are. But that's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a skeleton. We're putting things on a framework that works, but making it our own by, you know, putting a scarf on the skeleton, and when nobody else has put a scarf on it or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That was a stupid example.
No,
but
yeah. I get it. Actually, funny story about redressing the skeletons. I was gone for a couple years from home, and my we had some family friends that got my family a cardboard cutout of me, and they gave them a bunch of different like outfits to put on him, like scarves or like sunglasses for the summer and stuff like that, hats and things. Put on the cardboard cutout, so they would, I don't know, they wouldn't miss me so much.
Flat Max still exists in his childhood home, and he sits with everyone at the dining table.
Can we please get Flat Max to come visit the studio?
That'd be perfect.
I was thinking we need a skeleton in here to dress up. Like, if we have a skeleton to dress up, that'd be hilarious.
Flat Max is such a better idea, though.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Wait.
To echo that point, one of the things that I was thinking, it's like taking the same seeds, you're planting a different garden. Like when it comes to retelling those stories. Exactly. So, so one of the things that I've been thinking about too is like, as someone who loves stories and loves reading stories, there are times where I want something new, like I want something creative to be done with the story, but there's other times where I like the familiar comfort of something being retold in a different way. True. So like, I think Robin Hood would probably be a great example for some people, but I think trying to think of exactly what it would be. I think the retellings of Hamlet I find really comforting. Like just, the concept of being able to overcome, because like, I mean, I'm going to use Lion King as the example. This was like me and my brother's favorite movie of all time. He killed our parents with the number of times that we watched this movie. But I love that story because I think while Simba's going through this identity crisis, we all go through these times in life where he realizes that there is a component of it that he is his duty to return to it. And as an oldest child, there's a lot, I think, of duty that's felt with that role. But at the same time, he's able to take his own spin on it. So, it didn't mean that, he was just going to find himself in a horrible position of just like not living up to the fullness of his potential, but he got to do that as himself.
Actually, I need to add to this too, because I have a lot of opinions about the live action Lion King. Because
Mufasa? Or is there
No. The other one, the one that you've never seen that one?
There's a live action Lion King?
Yeah.
What?
So it came before the Mufasa one. Wait, you didn't know about this?
What?
Oh, what? Okay.
Why do you think they came out with a live action Mufasa?
I don't know. I thought they were trying to be cool. They were trying to be edgy or something.
I mean, that is true, but yeah. No, it only came because they did it had like Beyonce in it and everything. You didn't know this?
No.
Okay, well, this is news to Drew, apparently.
What?
Yeah, Seth Rogen plays Pumbaa, and like, is it Billy? I just know him from. I just know him from Billy on the Street.
Yeah, Billy on the Street.
Yeah, please move. Timon, thank you. You didn't know this at all?
No,
dude, this was a big thing.
Where was I?
I don't know.
No.
When did this come out?
Maybe Mexico. I don't know. But
wait, when did this come out?
When did it come out? Okay, we're gonna look it up while I talk about this. Okay, so this is something that Disney's been doing a lot recently. Has been kind of like bringing back their old movies and like doing live action versions of them.
Yeah, and
the problem becomes that they've been like taking this story and like tweaking it. They want to make it their own, their own little original spins on things, but they do it in ways that like completely like that should have been a different story. So in Lion King's version, for example, it's a little more subtle, but a lot more times Mufasa and Simba, when they're talking, is not about their relationship or about like Simba himself. It's about like his place in the pride, and what you've done is put the pride at risk, kind of thing. Like about the greater good or whatever. But you lose a little bit more of Simba's like journey towards identity, because you in the back of your mind you're hearing Mufasa saying, Simba, you need to do this for everybody else, not for yourself. They do insert Mufasa's famous lines and everything too. Poor James Earl Jones, they made him re-record his lines for that movie. They literally brought him back as Mufasa, and he was dying at the time. Like, it was so sad. Like, you can hear it in his voice in the movie.
Oh, he was actually dying.
Well, he only passed away, what? 2 years ago? Last year?
So it came out in 2019.
2019.
2019 was when the movie came out.
I was
don't
getting
know where
married
you were
that
at.
year. I was getting married that year.
But that doesn't mean you had lived under a rock.
For the whole year.
I got married that year.
When did James Earl Jones pass?
James Earl Jones passed away in 2024. Actually, just this last year.
5 years before he died.
93.
So he was 8. So anyway, that's a whole extra tangent, but it's like they took this movie, which was already based on something else, and they wanted to like just redo the movie. And that's the problem with like a lot of live actions lately has been kind of shot for shot remakes with like one like with some edgy stuff thrown in, things that are supposed to be original. The big one this year was Lilo and Stitch that came out, the live action one.
I didn't watch it.
I haven't seen it yet. I shouldn't. Leisha's actually seen it, but I have a lot of opinions about it. But they changed some big stuff.
I loved the live action Lilo and Stitch.
Really?
It was really good. And I think a big part of that is that as like my parents are both from Hawaii, and one of the things that they really loved, or that my dad actually particularly really loved about the movies, was that they actually had locals in it. And it was one of those things where it was more of a cultural showcase than what the original cartoon movie was. So I really loved that aspect of it, and I think they changed it in just the right ways, because like instead of what's the sister's name?
Nani.
Instead of Nani like not really having a purpose other than taking care of Lilo, like it gives Nani a purpose outside of that, which is she's extremely smart and she should have gone to school. And that like that's ultimately where it ends up going. And I just liked that. Like I liked that it gave her like purpose beyond just my parents died and now I have to take care of my little sister. So there were a couple of little changes that I think that helped it. I think that made them making it live action that much better. I mean, I think the same thing with Beauty and the Beast. That was an excellent live action retelling.
Okay. Beauty and the Beast was pretty good.
It was so good.
It's the best.
It's the best one.
I actually just listen to Evermore sometimes by myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
See,
okay, here's one hang up that I have with Beauty and the Beast. So in the Broadway show, they have a song called Home, and it's Belle sings it when she's trapped in her room for the first time, and it's a beautiful song, and you actually hear it in the music, like in the orchestral score. Not a single one of the movies that has ever been done for Beauty and the Beast has included this song, and it drives me insane. They came up with a new one, which was Evermore, which was excellent, but I really wanted that song, and they still haven't added it, and I'm a little disappointed.
Anyway, that's our tangent about other adaptations of, I don't know, because sometimes it's like you take things to like remake them, which is cool. Sometimes I know, like, I mean, Disney's doing it because they want to they want to renew their licenses on the properties and everything. They don't want,
Oh, is that the reason?
that's 100% the reason. Yeah,
Oh,
because their
okay.
licenses are coming up on, not licenses. What's it called? Copyrights and everything. But basically,
Maybe.
you're renewing copyright. Like, so recently, one of the original versions of Mickey became public domain.
Oh, okay.
But it's like it's the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey. When he's whistling and everything, that part, that Mickey is public domain. Winnie the Pooh just became public domain, and they had that Winnie the Pooh horror movie. Did you see that?
No.
Oh my gosh! Wait, we got to get you in on this like train. I mean, we didn't see
I
it.
can't watch that. I love Winnie the Pooh as a kid.
No, it's not good. It was like someone's like
Oh, someone just like made it in their garage or something?
kinda, yeah. Like I think it was a little bit bigger budget than that, but it was just Winnie the Pooh masks and everything. But But that was the only reason they could do that was because Winnie the Pooh became public domain because the copyright expired on that. So they that's why they're doing these things. But it's interesting to see because you do get the different adaptations where you can add in enough to make it different. that like resonates with people. But you can also take away and everything that they're not resonating with people. At that point, that's up to interpretation. But the original thought, the idea of like having that original thought, I feel like we treat it as like when we see something, when we see quote unquote original, you're like, wow, that's so original. Often they came from somewhere else too, though. Like a lot of Christopher Nolan movies apparently came from like old like animes or old manga thing.
Actually, since we're talking about Disney and original, one of the things so do you guys remember back in the day when we were watching Disney Channel and like every night they would do a movie of some kind and it was always a Disney original movie? What's funny about that is that there were so many times when it's a Disney original movie, Cinderella story, or which is an oxymoron in and of itself. But actually, thinking one of the stories, is there a story that you guys love and you know that it's probably been told before? Because one of the Disney original movies that I loved was Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. You guys ever watch that one? Yeah, that very good. And then there's another one where it was like a kid would turn into like he turned 13 and he turned into a merman. You remember that one? No. That one was an older one. No. What?
Are you just calling me old?
It's the name of the game.
Listen, we're all almost 30 here.
That's an older one, don't you know?
Wait, aren't you already 30?
Not yet.
This year?
Oh.
That's going to be a fun episode. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Well, the question was, because I'm thinking about Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior, and I'm trying to think of what that story. I mean, Karate Kid. It's Karate Kid.
Oh, okay.
It's Karate Kid.
Yeah.
I was just like racking my brain trying to figure out what it was. It's Karate Kid. It's Karate Kid. Anyway.
All right, World Builders is now on video. Catch our faces and our eye rolls and all the chaos that you've been hearing until now. We'll post new episodes every week on YouTube and all your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for watching and listening. Now, back to the story.
Actually, a lot of fantasy is not original inherently.
Yeah, no.
Actually, a lot of sci-fi isn't either. You can tie them basically to two works. You can tie a lot of sci-fi to, well, technically to Frankenstein is the original sci-fi, but also to Dune.
Sorry, I just got a cool new Frankenstein book.
Oh,
I just was excited. I almost went and grabbed it.
But Frankenstein, Dune, there's a couple others in there. And then fantasy, Lord of the Rings, is kind of, there's more earlier stuff, but it's kind of where modern fantasy derives itself from.
Yeah.
Elves and dwarves, at least in our current interpretations, entirely Tolkien.
Yeah.
So, but Narnia's good.
I have one.
Oh.
Anytime I get an opportunity to talk about this thing, I use it as an opportunity, as a stage, if you will, to talk about this thing. Dark Crystal.
Oh, that was not why.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking ACOTAR.
ACOTAR's fine. ACOTAR's fine. Here's the thing. It's just a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but the rest of the series is really cool.
Spoilers, guys. I just started at ACOTAR.
It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Well, you can kind of tell that from the beginning.
Did you not get that?
I
Listen.
asked that question.
I did not get that. Although, to be fair, I know a lot of the plot of that book because when my wife first read it, she told me about what she read after every time she read it.
Right.
So I mean, this was a couple years ago when she read it, but
yeah. Well, the concept for ACOTAR was that it was a retelling of the Beauty and the Beast, but it does make it quite different from the original tale. Dark Crystal, because here's the thing: it is a chosen one story, but something that is original is the characters, the species, the I think like the races of the characters, those are all original ideas and thoughts, even if it takes like a pretty typical trope. Have you guys run into any, because you guys are writing fantasy stories, so have you guys run into any situations where like you guys are creating something new like that, where, I mean, mind you, like the concept in and of itself, like a creature, there's only so far you can go. Like fizz gigs, is that what they're called? Yeah. So fizz gigs are like, they're little pom-pom looking things that exist in the world of the Dark Crystal, and they have like giant mouths, big eyes. Do they have tails? I think they have tails. And then they just have feet. That's all you can really see. And they remind me a lot of Furbies.
Okay.
Like a lot of Furbies. But anyway, getting to my question now.
The setup is so good.
Are there things that you're trying to create that are original in your guys' fantasy stories? And then what are some of the things, I can't ask that. What are some of the things that you guys feel like you guys are taking from other stories and making your own?
Okay, so before I give my thoughts on that, I have some thoughts on this concept actually, just generally.
Okay.
Oftentimes I will read a fantasy book and I feel like the author is trying too hard to make original creatures or species or fauna or something like that, and that's where their like originality stems from. But the rest of the book is actually kind of dry because they spent so much time and effort on trying to create original magical creatures or whatever, or an original magic system. I don't know.
No. So I was going to talk about this exact thing.
Okay.
But from my own perspective, because I'm on this journey of trying to be a self-discovery writer instead of an architect writer, which is like, and like, I'm looking for the balance. I need it. I need both. But when I was an architect writer, like specifically, like I was a world builder, not a word builder yet. I'm a word builder.
That was so bad. It was good.
That was like a lot of thoughts that just came in all at the same time. I was world building, and I had tried so hard to make original like creatures. And then I got so discouraged when I realized that they were just offshoots of elves and offshoots of like other creatures and everything like this, or they had like such complicated, like, I had this one race of creatures called the Delaney, which were like, they're basically, their whole like existence was about being pure, but like to a fault kind of thing, where like one of the characters gets like, ousted and everything. But at the end of the day, they were just like humanoids. They're basically just angels at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what I got so discouraged about was that the things that I was creating weren't original. And I think the best way to look at that, and the best interpretations of creatures that I've seen, are just like something familiar that has a slight change. Then you can just base things off of that and kind of go a little bit this way. I've talked about it before, but Brendan Mull has this series called Beyonders.
I love that series.
Dude, Beyonders is
so good.
The most underrated like middle-aged book ever. It's series ever. Like it should have been YA. It's so good. But there's some original races in there, and the ones that are my favorites are like Displacers. Wait, you've never read Beyonders? No. So Displacers are basically like creatures. They're smaller, I think. I remember of like halflings or dwarves kind of sized.
I don't remember.
I
read this book. I read this series back in like middle school or
same.
something.
But it just stuck with me. But they can detach parts of their body, and like the thing is like the wizard that kind of controls the realm and everything has a lot of displacers at his control, because he can send their eyes and their ears literally to places to like hide out, and like so. A lot of displacers are like missing things, but they're there. They're just not with their person at the time. Such a cool concept. They're just humanoids. They're just but they have all they can do is display something from their body. Or I don't remember what they're called, but there's the creatures that have like the seed that grows
in the back of their neck.
They basically they're basically immortal.
They're functionally
They're
immortal.
functionally immortal because when they die, their seed just lands in the ground and they grow back from this.
Yeah, they grow a new body.
Could be.
Exactly, or an elf. That's also what I was thinking of too, the immortality aspect of it. There was also a set of creatures in that world where they aged incredibly fast. They were basically bred to be warriors, I think.
They're the mayflies of the humanoids.
Yeah, so they literally were born, and then you basically meet like some young characters, and then they meet them like a week or two later, and they've aged by years.
Yeah, no, they're like an adult.
They're like late teens, early 20s now, and I'm gonna die like a couple weeks, but which was so sad because you're like getting attached to the characters. But again, it's just small concepts that you just tweak and bring forward. We're big Brandon Sanderson fans. Everything in like the Stormlight Archive, like most of the creatures are just based off the fact that the world is hit by powerful storms all the time.
Everything's crabs.
Yeah, everything's crabs because that's the only thing that's going to survive. And all the crabs make their houses out of rocks. So it's like pretty much it.
Yep, it's all crabs, man.
Yeah. So so I think what I got into my head about was that I was doing small offshoots of things, when really at the end of the day, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, and I think something else that I like about that is that when you're trying to create original creatures and species and fauna and things like that, too many and myself included, by the way, too many fantasy authors or aspiring fantasy authors will create really cool ideas and like really cool things. Like genuinely, I've talked to some friends, outside of just you guys who have wanted to write books and stuff, and they have these cool ideas for fantasies, whatever, right? And I'm like, yo, that's sick. But they never use it in their story. Whereas the example that you gave with Brandon Mole, all of those different species are used excellently throughout that entire series. They are integrated so well into those books. It's great. I love it. And I kind of wanted to, I guess, turn the question back to Leisha as the only romantic romance author in our midst.
No one else is romantic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the most romantic person ever. But anyways,
I was gonna make a joke. I'm not gonna make a joke.
We're in shambles over here, Max. How do you feel about originality when it comes to romance stories, specifically with like your stories?
I think it's funny that you asked, because I was just thinking, like, one of the things that I love about the romance genre is I love romantic comedies. I like to laugh. I'm an easy laugh too, so we have that going for us, okay? And one of the things that I've been running into recently is that I never feel funny enough in my writing, because like humor is a huge component of the things that I love to read and the things I like to watch. Like Max and I's relationship is built a lot on. It is, but like on making each other laugh, and or having like, I kid you not. This is such an inappropriate story, but it's so funny. So the other day so sometimes Jackson struggles to go to sleep at night, and so we'll go for a drive. So it's like 10:30 in the evening. Jackson fell asleep. We finally get home, and Max decides to whip out this fun fact.
Oh my god!
So Volkswagen has. Stop! I'm trying to get the story out. So Volkswagen has a, like, what would you call it? It's an Instagram page for their Italia branch, but it's Volkswagen. Their tagline is Volkswagen Italia, which is Volkswagen genitalia when you see it all together. We were bent over in our driveway for 5 minutes, cracking up.
Oh, it was so good.
10:30, okay? It was hilarious. But just to give you context, that's the kind of stuff we find ourselves entertaining ourselves with. But because a lot of the writers that I adore, Emily Henry being a big one, is hilarious. She's so funny. Like I can't even remember which book it is. There was a book that I was reading, and there's a section in the book where she says, I do really well in an apocalypse because I like to eat ramen noodles. I'm pretty scrappy, and I could go long periods of time without any social interaction as long as there were books around. I thought that was the funniest thing ever, and it's so relatable too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like the way that she had delivered it. It just hit me, and I was like, I want that. So I think more so for me, it's like I want to emulate like really great contemporary romantic authors because they do well for a reason. Like I'm sitting here laughing out loud reading this book, and I want like the things that I write to make people feel that good. So I think that I sometimes have the opposite issue where I want to lean into that more, but then like obviously one of the things that's hard is that my voice doesn't sound like their voices. So when I'm going back to read like a chapter that I wrote, even though like I might find it funny, it's not the same. And so then I get caught up in that of like, I'm never going to be able to do as well because I can't emulate that the same way. So I think that that's more so where I struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to like originality, I feel like as a contemporary romance author, that's not what I'm aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more so aiming for how can I be as successful as like other women in this genre who are incredible writers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all have that identity crisis when it comes to our favorite authors too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, here's the thing. None of us are gonna be Brandon Sanderson or Tolkien or Emily Henry. And that has to be okay. One lecture of Sanderson's that I saw recently, he says that if you are writing a story, like, write another one. Like, if you finish writing a story, write another one. Like, basically, like, don't look to get, like, published until you've written 3 stories or 3 novels, because at that point, then you'll know your voice. You'll know who you are. You'll know what works for you in your process and works with deadlines too. And I think that's important to realize too, because we are going to emulate our favorite authors in the beginning until we figure out what our own voice is. And that's why I was okay with restarting my story, because I'm trying to be more okay with the idea that I am not. I am my own author, and I need to figure that out. Now I want to finish the story so I can move on to the next one and finish that one and keep going and push through that. But it's tough.
I just had a realization. So this last week at work, we were sharing fun facts, and my fun fact was that I had a podcast.
That's this week.
But then they asked me what the name was, and I said, this is the generation that's really good at Instagram stalking. You guys can find it. Sure enough, they actually texted a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, to figure it out. But
was it your DM?
No.
Oh.
No, it was someone we knew as Aces.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, I know.
Thank you, Yaneth.
That was on what?
So
Wait, Yaneth as in...
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that she was an ace now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Going to work.
Oh, I was like, dang.
she acted like it though. She definitely acted like it, and I loved it. I loved every minute. It was so funny. So now it just dawned on me that now people at work are going to start listening to this podcast, and now I just talked about genitals on the podcast. Now I have to go Now this next week I have to go boss them around like normal, but they know.
They're gonna be like Volkswagen Italia, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So now that's gonna follow me around.
To be fair, I did get that joke from a coworker of yours. Who do you think?
We can't be doxing people.
Yeah, we can't dox people. Okay? Like Yaneth. We can't dox
Except for
Yaneth. Who's Lucas?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll dox Lucas. Yeah. I'm not giving like his address or his social security number.
Or his toothbrush color.
I hope you don't include any of that conversation, so it's completely out of left field.
Out of the blue. Like, what are you talking about?
But
That's so good.
oh, that's so great. Anyway,
That should just be our poll question this week.
Yeah.
What color is your toothbrush?
just completely out of context, other than
man.
this context right here. Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea that original ideas, they're very hard to come by.
Yeah.
They may exist. They do exist. But at the same time, you have to be okay with the idea that your environment, how you've read things, how you've watched things, how you absorb things, it's okay for them to be a little bit similar. In fact, that familiarity is probably a good thing a lot of the time. Because that familiarity is what's going to breed that idea. Gonna successful because people want to read things that are similar to things that they are. So, my magic system, which is like a conglomeration of allomancy and Chernobyl.
And a Chernobyl? Oh my gosh. By the way, I'm still devastated that you scrapped the old man.
I did not
chapter.
scrap the old man. Okay,
I'm devastated that you
scrap
scrapped
him.
the old man
I
chapter.
didn't scrap the chapter. I just needed to start from a different spot, and now I'm gonna make your life even more miserable. I'm gonna have the old man be more of a presence now because you liked him that much.
Such a good character, man.
Okay, one last thing I have to say. I had what I thought was the most original idea ever for a story once, and I was telling it to somebody, and I was like, "It's this great idea." I might have been telling you. It's a great idea. It's a zombie apocalypse kind of story, and it's about like rebuilding society kind of thing. And this guy wakes up in a hospital and realizes the world has ended and everything, and he has to kind of go from this and everything. And then someone's like, "You know, that's how The Walking Dead starts, right?" I was like, "What?" So I go watch Walking Dead episode 1. It's literally how it starts. And what do? They try and rebuild society as best they can, survive. I was like, well, I'm not writing zombie apocalypse fiction anymore.
No, that is funny. I do. It is interesting that you bring that up because there's been a couple of times where I've brought ideas, business ideas, story ideas, to my wife, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like there's this one company that like totally makes that product," and I'm like, "Well, I'm throwing it in the garbage now. Gosh dang it!"
Yeah, that's what we want to avoid is things that are so similar that we're like completely discouraged, but also the things that are similar. It's okay that they're similar.
Yeah,
like it's gonna be all right.
Yeah. No, I
just
agree
go
for
look at any shelf in Barnes and Noble. Half those books are the same book.
Yeah,
but it's okay because people like different things for different reasons. Like people like different flavor, like heats in their, their chicken tikka or whatever. Like some people like mild, some people like medium, some people like hot. They're the same dish, just a little bit different.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that.
There you go. We had chicken tikka for lunch, so I was thinking about it.
Do we have any other questions before we go to the dreaded section?
Yes, I want to get on.
Well, it's only dreaded by me and Max, but
I don't know. I got it. Okay.
I think my last question or prompt for us is, what's one unoriginal idea that you'll never get sick of?
The hero's journey. For me.
Okay, this is a weird one, but I didn't realize that this was actually one that I really loved until I recently went and saw As You Like It, which is a Shakespeare romantic comedy, and it is hysterical. Basically, the main character, Rosalind, dresses up as a man and then helps her love interest, who's in love with her, to get the girl.
To get her?
As a man. Yeah. And I think I love that. It is so funny. Because, like, anyone who's ever seen Amanda Bynes, She's the Man, it's a piece. It's perfect.
I'd never seen that movie until I married Ashley, until I married my wife. I have
Very
to look
good.
that out.
Very good.
But yeah, that movie's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just been like excellent. Yeah. So I love weird tropes like that.
I think for me, lovable side characters. I think that I love that. Like sometimes it's fun to focus on the main character, but people who do write really well, like really good side characters, well, I love it.
Like comedic relief side characters,
Not
or
necessarily. People sometimes, yeah, but like just characters and like side characters that you just like remember and love, and like you're devastated when they die or when they when they're not around anymore for some or they make a bad choice kind of thing. Like I just love side characters. I think they're great. You get to see the world through the main character's eyes, and if he sees cool people, then the world's cool. All right. Word count time.
let me pull it up.
I guess I'll go first since I have it. I wrote 1849 this week. So almost 2,000 words this week.
That's pretty
That's
good.
not bad. I got an extra 300 in before coming today, so that was good. But
Nice.
which is great. It was actually the chase scene I was talking about earlier. That was what I wrote this morning. It was great. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about just getting into a mystery because that's what I want to write. And I was literally writing scenes of him walking through looking through paperwork, and I was like, this is so boring. Oh my gosh. He's gonna be in a meeting next chapter too. Ugh, let's just get into a mystery. So that's what I'm doing.
All right, I got my number here. I wrote 1,366 words this week. So that was all in like a very brief short story that I wrote for my D&D character for a campaign that we're starting next week. I didn't write in my story at all, but I did write.
It counts.
It counts. Thank you. I needed that. Yeah. Just my DM and I, we've been kind of workshopping really cool story for my character, and I just was feeling really inspired to like write a brief short story about him and how, like, basically the short story is like, why are you an adventurer? Like, how did you become an adventurer or whatever? And it's really good. I think because Max is in this session, is going to be in this campaign with us. I think you're gonna like it.
So, I wrote 2,614 words.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think trying to write the quote unquote second book as the first book has been so helpful. So I feel like I want to say that I actually started out writing this one in the first place, but then I changed my mind halfway through and I was like, I don't know if this is going to make sense. I did run into a situation where I was like, okay, but one of the characters that I'm introducing in the book is supposed to meet in what was supposed to be the first book. Then I was like, man, well, I'll figure it out. So we'll see.
It's just funny to like paint yourself into a corner when like it's your fault. Like you're like, oh man, I have to figure that out. And it's like, actually, it's just me. Like, I have to figure that out.
Yeah.